Hi and welcome to our next video, everyone. In the last video we looked at how to build a simple circuit with something called a diode. Specifically, we used a LED, which stands for light emitting diode, and diodes allow current to flow in one direction only, and some of them give off light when they do that, and the one we looked at was a light emitting diode. We're going to look at how we can build such a circuit using something called a breadboard. So when you go to your basic components, I'm going to bring in a breadboard. And a breadboard is a way that we can build circuits really quickly and easily, and it doesn't take very much time. So we're going to do that here. We're going to hook up basically the same circuit we had before, except we're going to use a breadboard. How does a breadboard work? Well, you have to take and supply the breadboard with a path, if you will, for the current to flow. So we're going to do that. We're going to hook up our 9-volt battery like so. I'm going to go from the positive terminal here to one of these holes here. Now you can see that they all turn green, and what that means is there will be a voltage of 9 volts to all those holes, if you will, or connections. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to make that red. And let's just move this up a little bit, and then I'm going to do the same thing with this. I'm going to connect from the negative terminal to all of those. All of those holes are the negative side of the battery. Now, right now, I've got another positive rail down the bottom, and I've got a negative rail down at the bottom. These rails are not connected. If you wanted to, you can take a wire and you can connect those. So if I go take a wire and put it from here to here, there, I've got that there, and I can put that as red, and then I can do the same thing. I'll make this one from the negative of this one to the negative of that one, and there. So now those rails, if you will, are connected together. What I can do is I could use this breadboard now to build a really simple circuit. And how about the circuit that we did before? We took a fixed resistor like so, and I built it like this. In other words, I'm going to hook it onto my breadboard like this, and I'm going to cross this opening here. So when I put in resistors, I'm going to put them across here because this side of the board is not connected to this side. And I'm going to make this equal to 1K ohm. It defaults to that. We're going to keep it like that. And then I'm going to grab an LED. And how do I connect these things together on the breadboard? Well, they both have legs. So I put the legs in terminal 2 and terminal 1 here. I put the legs in here. And then I want to connect the LED. So how do I do that? So I'm going to bring it over like this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to set it down like so. And hopefully you're going to see how this works here. Right now, that's the anode side, and that's the cathode side. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move this over here, actually. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this up here. And I can't leave it like this because now both terminals are in the same row, and I can't have that in a breadboard. So I'm going to rotate this fixed resistor, and I'm going to put it like this. And then I'm going to drag this down here like so. And then I am going to connect power to the anode here. So how do I do that? Well, I can just take a wire here. And if I take a wire and I bring it down around like this, and I let go and I curve the wire. Oops, that didn't work. Let me just try this again. So if I bring a wire down like so, and then I'm going to curve the wire in there. So I'm going to make that red because that is the positive terminal coming in. I can adjust this here So there, make it look just nice. So current is going to come from the battery through this red wire, down the rail, down this red wire, and it's going to go in to the anode. It's going to come out the cathode side into the fixed resistor. And right now it's an open circuit. I need to close the circuit. So what I can do is I can connect from here, because these holes are all connected. I'm going to connect from here down to the negative rail. So right there. And I'm going to make that black. So now let's follow the path of the current here. So current is going to flow from the positive terminal of the battery through the wire, through the breadboard power rail, through this wire into the anode, out the cathode, into the fixed resistor, through the black wire, and then it actually goes all the way down to here, comes all the way across this wire, and it goes back to here and then back into the battery. So that is the path. If I built this right, I should be able to start the simulation, check to make sure that this works. And yes, sure enough, we connected it properly, and there, it does work. Now, when you're building on a breadboard, and if something doesn't work, so let's just pretend here, let's take this wire and delete it, and let's say I put a wire from here to here, and let's make that red. And if I tried to run this here, you're going to see that it doesn't light up. Well, that's because you built an open circuit. Right now, this end of the wire needs to be connected to the anode. Well, it's not. It's not in the same row. So that wire has to be put into the same row, which is this row right here. So if we try this again and delete that, let's put a wire in. I can even bring it from here if I want. I'm going to click on this wire. I'm going to bring it here and curve it up and hook it right to there. And let me just make this nice and horizontal like so. Oops. Yep, I don't know how we got an extra wire in there. Let me just try this again, you guys. So we'll delete that. Oh, there we go. So there, it curves and it goes into the anode. So now let's try it, see if we have an open circuit or a closed circuit. Start the simulation, and there, sure enough, it turns on. It does work. We have a closed circuit. Current flows through the wires, through the LED, through the fixed resistor, and then through these wires and back to the negative terminal of the battery. Notice here, if I got rid of that wire and I delete that and tried to run it, again, it's not turning on because now we have an open circuit. Current cannot get back to the battery, and it needs to complete the circuit. So there, that is not going to work. In order to fix it again, we got to put this wire back in. So I'm going to go from here to here and make that black. Run the simulation, and then sure, it works. So that's it for this tutorial video. I suggest you try this in Tinkercad. Try playing around with a breadboard and hooking up an LED with a resistor, and just making sure you know how to do that. Breadboards take a little while to get used to. You will be using an actual breadboard, but we're practicing right now with Tinkercad, but we will be using a real one in class. That's it for this video. Try this, and we'll see you in the next video.